This is the Heart Now Here Spurs Fans Podcast, a podcast from a bunch of yids to all you yids around the world. And we're back. The three of us are back. Myself, Lee Tarrier, Kevin Dennis, and Matthew Kerr. And although we're back, the same feeling is still here. It's still here, yids. We can't shake it off. Just when you think it's going all right and there's a step forward, aka dominating Dortmund in Europe, you take two steps back by conceding 2 against Burnley and scraping a last-minute draw. Lads, how you doing? Are you all right? You still with it all? You know?
Not really. No, no. Honestly, I swear to you, I've been having go to bed thinking about Spurs, the shit we're in. I wake up and hoping that what I dreamt was a fucking nightmare, but I'm waking up to reality. I mean, I'm really, really struggling with the club at the moment, and like everyone else, I'm probably hurting inside. I'm confused. I don't really know where my team is coming and going. I don't know how it's been ran behind the scenes. We've got a mystery transfer window that we're involved in, and no one knows what's happening. We've got a manager who everyone wants to fucking boo. There's players out there that don't want to give their all. I mean, I don't know how much worse it can get. But yeah, it's a real tough time to be a Spurs fan at the moment.
Yes, so I'm going to go straight to the question. I'm going to give it to Matt first because TJ, who sadly can't be here tonight, we were talking about it in the group today. But Matt, can Tottenham Hotspur get relegated?
100% we can. Look where we are now. We're 8 points clear, yeah? Look at our next 6 games. We might not pick up any points in them 6 games, and the teams below us are probably playing each other or playing teams just above us, and they might pick up points. And before you know it, we might come at them 6 games, 1 or 2 points clear. And that we're in a relegation scrap. And I don't think them players are built for a relegation battle. So they're going to need to start picking up points very fast. Otherwise, we're going to be in deep trouble because the teams below us, the Nottingham Forests, Sean Dyche as a manager, I see them picking up points. West Ham, they're grinding out results. And I think their players are probably more built for a relegation battle than what we are. Our players ain't going to roll their sleeves up and get, muck in and try and get a relegation battle. They think they're like proper stars. Do you know what I mean? They're not ready for that sort of stuff.
Well, this is the thing. I'm going to read out, take away the Frankfurt game in Europe. Our next 4 games. We've talked about it before, but the 1st of February at home to Manchester City. The 7th of February away to Manchester United. The 10th of February at home to Newcastle. And the 22nd of February is the North London derby. In between that could be a playoff round in the Champions League, which would only make things that much harder. Kev, what are your feelings now about everything and the juxtaposition between European competition and what's coming up in February in those 4 Premier League games?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to disagree with Matt just for the fucking banter sometimes, but I completely agree with him. I think that the league form says everything at the moment in terms of where we're at. It's a good job we've got the Champions League thing going on because, I mean, that is really our only bright spark at the moment in such a dark place. You know, the excitement for me of going away in Europe is the only thing that's keeping me going because really there is nothing else. A bit like last year in terms of being going on the Europa run, the league form was pretty dead in the water, and at the moment I feel like it is at the moment. We're only in January, and like Matt said, with the teams below us, I look at them teams and I look within their squad and I see fighters. I see teams that are willing to roll up their sleeves and have a relegation battle. Like Matt said, with our lot, I can't really see that. And I think our fans have got to realise quicker. I mean, we've had a big debate today with TJ. TJ is not on board with the whole relegation thing at all.
No.
But I really am, because I'm looking at this squad and I'm looking at the manager we've got, and I don't see any fight. I don't see any guts in them. And if we do lose these games like we're predicted to, then really you're sort of playing the teams after that sort of in and around you down the bottom. And I look at them teams now, and I don't want to play anybody. Don't want to play any of them, home or away. I don't want to play with them. And that, to me, says that we're a team that should be down there if I don't want to play anyone below us in the relegation zone. You know, I'm looking at these teams and I'm looking at Sean Dyche. Would I have him as a manager right now to get out of this shit? Yes. Would I take Nuno right now in the defensive side of the game? Yes. Would I take David Moyes? Yes. They're the sort of managers that are used to being in these scraps and they have the experience of getting out. I think if we got down there, I don't know if we've got the experience or the minerals to get out of there with the current squad now and with the current manager. So it's crazy how this Europe thing's going on and we're doing really well in it. And we probably will win against Frankfurt this week and hopefully secure ourselves in a top 8 finish. So we avoid the extra game. But yeah, like you said, Lee, we don't really need that extra game in and amongst this fucking rut of shit fixtures we got. So we don't have a squad to deal with it either with the players that ain't coming in, and obviously the injuries. We don't have a squad that can manage these sort of games either. So I just see it getting worse before it gets better at the moment. And these fixtures coming up are horrendous. But I think after them fixtures are done, I think it's really when the tough games really start, and that is when you're playing teams in March and April that are down there with you. And I fully expect us to be in and around there after February when March starts. I expect us to be down there because I do think the teams below us will pick up points where we won't. So it is for me really doom and gloom where we are. I've really just got a real empty mid-90s feel about Spurs at the moment. You know, we was never really in threat of relegation back then, apart from that one season when Klinsmann come back and done what he had to do against Wimbledon. But I haven't really seen us down there like this before, and I don't know if people think we're too big to go down because of what we have and who we are. But I think we really need to realise what we are right now and what we've got and how we're playing and who we're not beating, and be realistic and you know and say that there is a fucking massive chance that we're going to be fucking down there, isn't it? And yeah, I just don't know if we've got the minerals for it.
Yeah,
well, this
like
is the
Kev
thing.
just said there, Lee. Like Kev just said there, yeah. Maybe our fans don't quite see it. It's that we've always been in the top half of the table the last decade, and things have been good. Yeah, like we've always been qualifying for Europe and stuff, and we're not used to seeing ourselves down there. We're with this mentality of the Spurs fans. Oh, we'll just get out of it. We'll be fine. Like we'll be fine. But we finished 17th last season. Yeah, we might have prioritised the Europa League. They might have papered over cracks. Frank has had money to spend. He has strengthened the squad. And we find ourselves 14th right now. After 6 games, if we're like 3/4 of the way through the season and you're 14th, 15th, no matter what fan base you are, you have to look at yourself and be like, we are in a relegation battle here. And I don't see nothing. Mate, the only one out of them fixtures, Man City, Man United, Newcastle and Arsenal, I honestly think we might get something against Newcastle at White Hart Lane. Other than that, I don't think it's getting anything at the other 3. I don't. But then you look at it, the teams below us start picking up points. You're going to sit there and be like, we are in a relegation battle. We are. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're halfway through a season now and you're in that position, you have to look at yourselves and be like, we could go down here.
Well, I'm looking at the games now for West Ham and Forest just because they are the teams. Like Leeds are winning as we speak at the moment, 1-0. They're pushing themselves obviously up. But the games that we're looking at the moment, when I look at West Ham and Forest, West Ham in their next 4 games, they've got Chelsea away, not going to be easy, Burnley away, Man United at home, and Bournemouth at home. Forest have got Palace at home, who are in freefall. They're in big trouble. Leeds away, Wolves at home, and Liverpool at home. Games where I think if we were on their side, we'd go, well, I reckon we could get 6-7 points out of those 12 points. Here, it's not looking like that. And Matt, just to stay with you at the moment, because I was going to ask, there is a pattern as well with Tottenham that it seems to start quite strongly. We started really strongly against Dortmund on the front foot. Best I've seen us probably this season outside the Burnley game, where we actually went for it, showed some vigor, showed that we could run with the ball, passed it quickly and slickly, and got our just rewards. They went down to 10 men. They shut up shop a little bit. They didn't want to leave themselves too open. And the game got a little bit, it got boring and, you know, it just sort of petered out. But it's happened again You know, we started strong the first 10 minutes against West Ham, then it fell apart. We started strongly against Burnley, and then it falls apart. Why do you think there is not a consistent nature with a Thomas Frank team over 90 minutes?
Look, I get it with the European side, that we're performing well. Like, I won't even lie to you. When that draw happened, we all thought we can get top 8 here because to look at the draw, like you look at some of the other teams that have played each other, like Liverpool have had to play Real Madrid, Man City have had to play Real Madrid. We've not had to play no one like that. We played Dortmund, but Dortmund are kind of already in that top 8, so they're not gonna. Do you know what I mean? So that I think in this league phase, everyone kind of just is up and down. Like apart from, I feel like the league phase in the Champions League is everyone will take risks and stuff like that. But when it comes to the knockout stage, it's when they get serious. Yeah. The Spurs ain't going to have this easy ride in the knockout stage. So we'll see what we're about. Like Frankfurt have got nothing to play for at all. And they will turn us over on Wednesday.
But that's what I'm saying. Why do you think we start at least strongly and then it fades away? Like you can see it ebb away in the players' movement, the way honestly, they play.
I think it is a lot of the time. However we've set up, whatnot, and it's always sidewards and then backwards. We don't really know how to attack. There's no forward passes. And I honestly do think sometimes the players just think, you know what, fuck this. We've just got to play. We've got to go for it now. Do you know what I mean? Like that West Ham goal, Ramiro's header. I think Ramiro just bombed it in the box for the sake of it and thought, do you know what? If I don't get up there, we're not going to score.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he done that against Newcastle as well, didn't he? When he scored the what was it? When I was there, what was the score? Was that 2-2? The away game. Yeah, and he done it again against Burnley. I do think he takes it upon himself just to fucking stay up there. And
Dortmund, he scored.
Yeah, when someone's doing that, you know, wherever, you know, they'll probably tell us they told him to do that and it's a tactic. But sometimes I don't think it is, you know.
But look, maybe we haven't got the players, and at the moment because of the injuries and stuff like that, to play the intensity like that for long periods of the game. We have to do it in spells, but it's not good enough what we're seeing anyway. Because even if we're not playing with the intensity, it's atrocious. Do you know what I mean? The intensity I feel only comes at home because the fans are so on them and they're sick and tired of watching that football. And they have to adapt at home and change a different way, play a different way.
Do you know what, Matt? I question the character of some of them in games. Obviously, when it's going well and we're playing on the front foot, everything's great. But they can dominate games, but if they concede in a goal in a certain manner, I think it's all about character. I mean, I don't want to fucking say it, but I will. And I'll mention Arsenal when they go 2-1 down in a game. They will always fight to come back, and I know it didn't work out from this weekend. Gone good, by the way, but they've got the character to come out of holes and where us, I don't think we have. I think we concede at stupid times. We lose concentration a lot. We have players sort of doing silly things, going out of positions where they shouldn't be in certain moments of games. And sometimes when we play against teams like Burnley, who are shit, but they're going to give you a bit of a rugged game. I just don't know if we've got the fight to play against teams like that. So I sort of question the character in certain moments of games, when we're playing Burnley and they have a 10-minute spell where they're on top. I don't think we have the character to deal with them sort of moments. And that's why we concede stupid goals for half time and whatever it is. But I think I have to put it down to I mean, the coach will get a lot of stick for it because he's got to motivate the players. But I find the players' character, when we're talking about signing players like Andy Robertson, they're the sort of players that won't put up with that shit. They're the sort of players that will sniff it out on the pitch and they'll try and get it right on the pitch, where the coach can't get it right on the pitch because he's on the sidelines. It's that sort of thing. And I think we're missing that. I think we're missing a lot of leaders on that pitch and a lot of experience to manage them sort of situations in games. And that's where I think we're really fragile,
It's this is the worry that I think we have at the moment, is that I think they've lost faith in the manager. I don't think he's he's clearly not a bad person. I think he's well liked within the circles, but he's well liked because he's likable. I think that's why the press have never really jumped on him. You imagine this was Ange, who would go back at him this time last season. He got thrown the book at him. Frank, he still comes across in a demeanor. He carries himself well, but he says things that we know are clearly not true to what we're seeing. You can't say that things are getting better when there's no points, both on the pitch and on the table, that show that. I feel we are seeing it week by week that this job is too big for this man. And
I'll tell you what though, Lee, he's got a chin at the moment because when he's
100%.
walking off that pitch every game, he is hearing his own fans sing "You're getting sacked in the morning," and that's surely chuck that in with the frustration of dropping points and losing games or drawing games. To go in that press conference there and stay as calm as you like. I mean, obviously it is affecting him, and he just isn't showing it.
And that's the nice part of him. Yeah,
that is a nice part of him. But I mean, a lot of managers now would have crumbled at this point and gone, you know what, fuck this. Well, you know, I don't think he's a quitter. He's not a quitter type. But I mean, it don't get as bad as it does when your fans are saying you're getting sacked in the morning and you're sort of walking over there and they're telling you to fuck off. It's just like, you know, I'll give him credit for that in terms of being able to bite his tongue, but how much more can you take? Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. I don't think he can't say anything that if he says anything, because to be fair, he's already called out the fans at times. Don't boo your players. If you're worried about me holding a coffee cup, then that says, you know, we've got bigger things to worry about. I mean, you're already kind of going against your fans, even if you're saying it in a roundabout way. He has to accept it in many ways, I feel. I think that he hasn't done himself any favors in that way. But I also feel that now this club is realizing that it's structure, and it's what we've said on here, what Orin said on here when he was our guest, and Shane. I think this club is realizing now that, do you know what I mean? When you start to operate in the way that we do, it's going to come and bite you in the arse at some point. And it's biting us in the arse already. You know, I'm not going to say that we don't spend money, because it's clear that we do if you look at figures. But we spend money, and it's always on about an asset. It's always about what is going to come from this, rather than what's going to come from this from a business point of view, rather than what's going to come from this in a success point of view. And I just think, there's a lot wrong. And I just feel now that, it's not a matter of if he goes, it's just when. But I don't think they want to make that change at the moment, because they haven't, and nor have we, I don't think, haven't got a clue in who would come in.
The thing is, as well, I think being in the middle of a transfer window has really halted things about changing the manager. Yeah. I mean, it's coming at a time now, and it's getting even more toxic when you're in your most important month of the season in terms of recruitment, you know, because the summers you're preparing, but in January you really realize what you're lacking, and where we are in the league, you really need to make sure you get the right players in. Well, so once January's done, that's all you've got there to fight with. So, I mean, I honestly believe that if there wasn't a transfer window at the moment, I'd like to think he'd be gone. But like I said to you the other week, they've probably made so many plans with him in terms of what they want to get in, or what they're trying to look at, or who they want to get out, and made them plans with him. To do that now, a week left of the season, you know, is pretty crazy, because whoever comes in has only got a week to decide what they want and who do I. No one knows what Spurs need more at the moment than the people within the club in terms of the coach, the manager. So, I mean, I think that's what's saving him at the moment is that he's in a transfer window, which he needs players in to keep his job, but also, for me, keep us in the fucking Premier League and go on an amazing Champions League run as far as you can. But to have one player in and only one player out, and we're coming into last week, I find is the most disturbing thing about our club at the moment in terms of this season is you've got so many injuries. I mean, these injuries should force your hand now to go out there and work extra hard, to go out and, I'm not saying go and spend 100 million on a player, but be shrewd, get some bodies in, whether they're loans or whatever they are, free fucking freebies or whatever it is. You need bodies in there at the moment. And for us not to have done anything until when we've got a week left, I find it's absolutely fucking criminal for what these guys set out to say at the start of the season, what this club is going to be this year. And I'd love to get that Vinay on here and just go, why is there not players coming into this football club when we're struggling the way we are, and we have injuries, and we're playing kids, having to bring kids in? Why is there no movement in this transfer market? I mean, I'm stunned to think we haven't signed anyone yet apart from Gallagher, and the injuries have just got worse as January's gone on. I mean, I'm a bit like Matt. I've been scrolling through Romano since the 1st of January, hoping every day I'm just going to see him peppering through every week. I mean, I'm getting fed up with going on there because we're not even linked to anyone. It's just like,
well, there was the Robertson thing, weren't there? Which I mean, I was bizarre. I found that quite bizarre. I mean,
I'll be honest with you, Lee.
player.
I can see why they're going for that type. I mean, if he's going to cost you £5 million, I think it's a no-brainer. It really is, because that club, that team at the moment lacks that. It lacks that leadership type. It lacks a player that's really been there and won it. I know Romero's won the World Cup and everything else, but someone like Robertson, who's a no-nonsense player anyway, I can imagine, captain of his country, I can imagine he's a coach-type player. I mean, I can imagine him going into that change room or going on that training pitch, and when they ain't putting it in, I can imagine him having a right pop at some of them and going, "No, I want you to track backfield. I want you to fight for me. I want you to show here." I can just see it, and I think them sort of players in this sort of team and this situation we're in now in the league, I think is quite vital.
But what I'd ask though, I'll ask you both this, but we obviously got over the line now with the Europa League, so we know what it's like to be winners. And there was something telling that Van der Ven said in that interview with Gary Neville, which was him and Romero spoke to Ange about sitting deep. They've got a lead, let's conserve it and stuff like that. Like these players, like you say, World Cup winner, a lot of them won the Europa League. Like they have got over the line in certain ways. That's what makes me think, is it surely that they just don't buy into this man's approach, tactics, style, and that they just don't get it. And for me, I feel, is that why it is, Matt? They've given up on him?
Yeah, I think the fans have given up on Frank. I think the players have kind of given up on Frank, and I feel like it's kind of a thing where I think, don't get me wrong, I think he's set up to foul again. Yeah, so it's a ball fouled another manager here. I think Frank will be in charge of the next two Manchester games, Man City and Man United. I think we'll lose both. And I think he gets sacked before Newcastle, because we've got a double header at home, Newcastle and Arsenal at home. And they're going to want bums on seats and a better atmosphere going into that North London derby. What's the point changing the manager now or getting an interim manager now? They know we're going to go and lose to the two Manchester clubs anyway. And I think it will be that Newcastle game. We go out and get someone. It could be like Harry Redknapp or something like that. I won't even lie to you. It'll be a name like that to bring bums back on the seats to the end of the season. And I think it'll be the Newcastle game. I think if you're a liked manager than Spurs, like Ange, you'll get the time. Yeah. If the fans can see what you're trying to do, you'll get the time. If the fans can see like what philosophy you type of like what you've got, you'll get the time. The fans are not prepared to give Thomas Frank the time because it's utter shit. The whole thing is shit. And that's the truth, isn't it? So if we're not buying into it, the players know we're not buying into it because we're booing the team. We're absolutely slating Thomas Frank every week, saying you're getting sacked in the morning. So why are the players going to buy into that project that Frank's doing? You're not, are you?
But then I'd say, let's take at the moment Manchester United. We beat Man United in the Europa League final. They came 2 places above us in the league. Was shit. Players looked terrible. It was clear they weren't playing for this manager or that his style didn't work. He's gone. They've now beaten the teams that are second and first in the league with the same players. Certain players now all of a sudden look $1 million. Kev, from what you've seen, when you look at a game, when you go to a game, you go, there's a player in there. It's just got to be unlocked. They give him this, they give that. Do you think that some of these are restricted, that they're not playing right? And do you think that in a similar way that we're talking about like Dorgu now, who went on and is looking a revelation for United, do you think that you could see a different light of some of these players if it was a simple change in the management structure?
Yeah, I'm a big believer of that new manager bounce, and I think it's pretty evident, especially like when you take Man United, for example. I mean, I watched that game yesterday, and I watched the City game when they played City as well, and it's just a rejuvenation of. And I mean, Amorim wasn't doing a bad job towards the end of it. He kind of, he got them playing how he wanted. They were picking up results here and there, but I think for Amorim, there was a leash around a lot of players' necks, and I think that's what we got with Frank. I watched Conor Gallagher against Burnley, and he's getting him to hold. For me, that player is a box-to-box midfielder. You want him making runs. Yeah. And at Burnley, he's got him sitting in there deep with Basuma. I mean, even Basuma's back in the fold now because
he didn't want him, did he? He wanted him out.
Yeah, but he wants 2 defensive midfielders everywhere he goes, and it's like, you're stopping us from being expressive. Everyone sort of cunted Ange for his style. But I bet you now they would take Angie's attacking style back because you've got a manager now who does the opposite. And I said it from the start. When I went to Man City away, there was the Spurs fans were singing Thomas Frank's "Blue White Army." I mean, I've said to you before, when it takes a long time for fans to sing that certain song, because once that song is sung by your away fans, you're sort of they're taking you in. And it was a bit early for Frank, but the results were great. And we knew he made us better defensively because we didn't have that last year. But he has just failed to make that transition. And not having Solanke is a massive thing for that. Because I watched him come on when he played against Burnley. I said in the group chat, in the first 5 minutes, you could see that we've been missing a hold-up player, a good striker that can hold the ball up and he's strong. So he hasn't had that. He is restricted to a point, but we can definitely play more expansive than we have been, especially in the league. And I think that's what's got people's backs up, is that they want to go and watch Tottenham and they want us to score goals and they want us fun to watch, whether it's home or away. And at the moment, that isn't happening. And I can guarantee if someone else did come in who said to him, go out and express yourself and play the right way. But yes, the results might not be great, but you'd have a bit of a style back and you can work towards that. With Frank at the moment, I don't know what he's trying to achieve. Does he want to be a defensive side? Because you look at us one game and we're defensive, then you watch us against Dortmund, who are on the front foot. The first half against Aston Villa, all over the place. Second half on the front foot. And he keeps mentioning this first half, second half thing. We're good in the first half, but not great in the second half. We was good at the start of the second half, not great at the end of the second half. We need to find it in the middle. It's just like, it's the consistency. You can't keep them playing one certain way for the whole of the 90 minutes. And I know games are going to change and you're going to have certain moments in games it's going to change, but your philosophy is your philosophy. If you're playing from the back and you're getting it up and you're going down, if you're playing long ball, whatever it is, your fans will be able to see what you're trying to do. And at the moment, under this manager, I can't see what we're trying to do. I can't see what we're trying to be on the ball, off the ball, and that's what's frustrating everyone. But would I chance taking an interim now? I think I would, depending on obviously who it is. But I just think at the moment, like Matt said, that Arsenal game coming up, them fans are going to want something different. They're not going to want to go into that game in the state we're in now because the fans won't be with the players. And unfortunately, we have a set of players that the fans have to get behind to get them going. And when we're negative in the stands, it really does show on the pitch. So the players need the fans to be up. But how can you get up when you're being fed this shit and you're not getting exciting players through the door and you're getting injuries constantly? It's difficult. But Lee, to answer your question, yes, a new manager bounce would help us, but it depends on who it is.
Yeah, and
Lee,
that's true.
Mate,
yeah, we don't know.
Lee, sorry, Lee, also, in this window, we lost Kudus, through injury.
Yeah.
We've known all since September, we're light on wingers. And still nothing for a winger. Keep hearing prioritising the left midfielder, prioritising a left winger. There's nothing. There is so I'm expecting 4-5 days left of this window. I'm fully expecting us to be busy, considering where we are in the league and that current injury crisis in that team. I'm fully expecting us to be pretty busy. But
it's the injuries. It's the injuries. It's the injuries that the shock to me the most about this window so far is the injuries we've had and the lack of fucking replacements. Yeah. It's crazy because it's already a shit show down there at the moment, right? It's the worst time I can remember for a long time. If they don't get active in this window and we start February and we have the February we think we're going to have, if we're flirting down there and this board have let us down in this January, it's unforgivable. Could you imagine the stature of our football club being relegated because the board didn't want to act a certain way in a certain month when we have new owners and we've just got rid, the tightest cunt in the club apparently, and we've let him go and we're just carrying on what he was doing. And
kind of shows that he was probably told what to do. He probably was doing the same as them, but yeah. And that's
the only thing he can hold his hands up for. He fucked up a lot of potential transfer deals where these sort of players have gone on to be really, really special players because he didn't want to pay the extra 10 grand a week or whatever it is. So in that sense, I'm glad he's gone. But I'd like to judge these new lot on negotiating players, but we won't because we ain't even bidding for any.
No,
do you know what I mean? We're not even linked to any. It's crazy.
As we talk, I'm Googled Tottenham transfers, and the biggest thing is saying that look, the Robinson deal looks like it's probably not going to happen, which I really felt was a bit of an outside shot at this time of the year. I could see him holding on and then maybe going in a free. But again,
that is only to do with Tsimikas, isn't it?
That's why it's not on.
They've recalled him from Roma, but Roma won't let him go back until they find a replacement. So apparently that's what's holding it all up. Apparently.
Yeah.
So I think that could go through. I think that could go through if Roma get one. See, like Kolo Muani, he might be going Juventus. Don't be surprised if Tottenham don't go in for Mateta. Not Forest. Not Forest to bid for Mateta, haven't they? Like today. Don't be surprised if Kolo goes and we end up going for Mateta this window.
Well, it all have. When is it? The 3rd of February. It ends next Monday, isn't it? It's a late one. I'm sure it's the 3rd when it closes. This is the latest it's been. I think I was seeing on it. Yeah, 2nd of February. Apologies, 2nd of February. But it's tough. I mean, look, I look at the stats for the Burnley game. We were on top. We had the position. We had the chances. It didn't happen. And, you take away a 2-1 after a 2-0 Dortmund, and we're looking at this very different. We look into what is a big match week that we are proudly sponsored by Hotspur Heritage and Osfamus UK with Frankfurt and with City. And we go, right, look, bang, we're in. Come on, 2 wins. Now, do you think the Frankfurt game can at least help us if we get a win there, Matt, to go on to Man City? Do you think our record against Man City gives us an inkling of hope?
Before I start that, Lee, massive shout out to Raymond Vega, who's just joined the Instagram live. It'd be good to get your views on Tottenham in the next couple of weeks.
Please.
So it'd be good to get you
friend of ours.
What's that, Lee?
He's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, it'd be good to get him on to have his views. Frankfurt, mate, I don't even know, Lee. Like, this is not the same Tottenham that went to Frankfurt last season. It's not the same Frankfurt. Do I think Spurs should go there and get at least a point? Yeah, I do. I think we'll go there and get a point. I don't think we'll win. I don't think we've got it. I don't think we've got it in us to go there and win, if I'm honest. Like, look at Bodo and that. Do you know what I mean? I know Bodo beat Man City, but I don't think we've got it in us right now to go and beat Frankfurt. Man City.
It's an important game, isn't it? Because we don't want that playoff in between this. And they're going to be thinking revenue. They're going to be thinking stature. We can't afford to lose it. So we can't even play a second team, if that makes sense, with the injuries we got.
Frankfurt don't need to win, do they? They're out. So it's not like they have to come at us. They don't have to come at us. They're just going to play chilled, you know what I mean?
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Well, remember Newcastle when they went down? Bloody hell, we lost 5-1.
And Man City, I'm going to be thinking a little bit differently to other fans are going to be thinking about this. Like, I don't care if Arsenal are top of the league and Man City are chasing them down. I feel like I'm at a stage where I'm so worried about our club and the issues that we've got on our club right now. I'm not even focusing on, like, if Man City beat us and stuff like that. I feel we have to go out and beat Man City. We need them points on the board to make our Premier League, like, at least not to make it a bit nervy. Because like I said to you, after these 4 games, if it's a little bit tight down the bottom, I don't think our players have got the bollocks to get out of that. So I feel like we need to kind of feel a bit more secure as a fan base, like with our team right now, and we don't. So I feel like I'm fully behind. I want us to beat Man City, 100%. I know there's going to be fan bases out there, and I've seen it all over social media saying, no, I don't mind if Man City beat us type thing. But I'm totally the opposite way of that. I don't care what Arsenal are doing. I'm so worried what's happening at our club right now.
Yeah, we have to win this game. And also, there's still a long way in the season for this game to be pivotal. Man City have got to play Arsenal at the Etihad. If they're only 4 points behind, that can knock that to 1 in a heartbeat. So I'm totally with it. And when we're thinking about where we are, we can't worry now. I do worry about what comes next. I feel like we go to Frankfurt and we probably pick up the win. I think that it's an ugly game and we beat them. We obviously beat them in the quarterfinals of the Europa League, didn't we? We went to their ground and we won 1-0 on a Solanke penalty. I think it's going to be another game like that, if I'm being totally honest. I think they'll come at us at some times, but I think we'll probably get it for a bit of a scrappy moment, set piece. But I do think a 1-0 will be there. The City game, again, being at home, it's so hard. It's so hard at the moment because I look at these games and I go, what if the crowd is fully invested, would it help with the team? I feel like, in fairness to the fans, like they have booed, yeah, but I think they've really been behind the team at times as well. I think they were really there for Dortmund for a massive part of it. I think they were really there for West Ham for a massive part of it. But you can't continue to lie to yourself as a fan base when you're seeing what's happening. West Ham shouldn't have been in with that chance there of coming, and they could have had a couple of goals before they scored the one at the last minute. So it's like, in the end, we can't just be, this isn't Brentford. This is what I'm trying to say. Brentford would cheer whether they were 2-0 up, 2-0 down. It don't work like that at a team like Tottenham. There is an expectation, and they cannot knock fans, and especially when it goes to the fact that you are charging fans the prices that you charge them. You know what I mean? You charge us a £5 to get in, everyone will go, I'm paying a £5. Even then we'd probably still get annoyed, but I'm paying fuck all right, yeah, it's a jolly, it's a day out. Do you know what I mean? When you're paying, and people are, 90 quid or thousands of pounds anyway with their season ticket, we are not there to just be going, oh, right, well, we're Tottenham, we're Tottenham till we die, and whatever happens, because that is where it goes wrong, and that's what they need to think about.
Do you think that's where he's gone wrongly? I mean, he's
yeah, I think he's underestimated.
Like you said, where it is acceptable to finish 12th, 13th, and you beat the odd team at home, the odd top 4 or 5 team at home every now and then, and you sort of finish around 10th. But then, do you think he had a thing of where, I'm going to Tottenham, they're going to give me some time there because they're a team that's just finished 17th, but we also are a team that's just won the Europa League. Do you think he's got in there with a relaxed approach, and they've told him behind the scenes, look, just get them better than there was last year. Let's take it nice and easy this year. Let's get a couple of players in here and there. Let's finish nice. Let's try and get the European places. But if not, we're good for the next year, and then we'll build on that. Do you think that's what they've said to him, and he's really come unstuck with it?
I think if they did, they're already fucked themselves up. But what was a striking thing, you listened to when Ange came, and you listened to what Frank said. Frank said within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we will lose football matches. Now, okay, look, we're not stupid. We know that as a lie. But if I'm here, if you're telling me, yeah, things are going to get shit at times, as a manager, I'm thinking, all right, bloody hell. Do you know what I mean? I've had managers in my workplaces where they've come in, they've said something either, you know what I mean, too big-headed, or thought that they were a big-time Charlie, or they've set the bar low, and it fucks everything up. And so when I'm hearing that, I'm like, all right, well, if he thinks that, then I can just get away with it, or I'm not inspired by him. But Ange Postecoglou was coming in there and he'd go, why can't we win the Premier League? Is there enough points to win the Premier League? Why can't we win it? And that's the thing. The press go from calling someone, because when he first come in and they loved him, it was like, big Ange, he's a top man. Well, yeah, maybe. Then the minute he started getting on their back, he was, he's deluded. He said he's going to win the league. But same narrative. They've just changed it. And it's happening now with Thomas Frank. I find that it's just like they like him. So it's not been terrible. I think they can't hide the fact now that it's bad football. They're saying it. Shearer says it on the telly. Martin Samuel says it in the papers. Like, you can't hide from the fact that it's not there. And what's worse is that he comes out and says, he said it after the West Ham game, he goes, we're learning. Things are just a little bit wrong, but we're learning. I'm like, no, this isn't Brentford. And if the chairman and the board, or whoever's in charge of there, have kind of said, look, you just need to get us over the line, then they're fucking themselves up, because really, unless we win the Champions League, and that is a high doubt, not to sort of say what we're saying here, but the Champions League is a big quality, right? But unless you win that, we're probably not in Europe next season, right? And then already they think about loss of revenue, how that affects the team, income, and then how that includes expenditure. So this is the biggest thing. What does this club want to be? What does this club want to be? And it needs to learn that. And the minute that it learns that, then we might get a bit of an insight into how this works. Because at the moment, I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. We had Poch, then we went for serial winners, then we went away from that, brought in the guy to bring the glory back. He did in so many ways, because we had one of the best weeks of our lives. But then they change it to a guy that has no experience other than picking up a win here or there at home in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Brentford, he would have kept his job if they went up or down. It's just not there. It's just not there. And it's sad because I think, look, no one wants anyone to fail. No one wants to be horrible to anyone, but you can't help feel aggravated when you know that from him, what they're doing on the pitch to above, to what they're doing in business is just flawed in many ways and taken for granted. So, yeah. I mean, the sad thing is for us, I feel like we are in a warped world of being a broken record. We can't say anything more each week. You could talk about the players individually, but we probably say what you've said already. We know what Romero, he sort of gives it, Van der Ven, a couple of players here and there. Goalkeeper's probably not good enough. We've not had a striker. We need more from our players who are creative. Are they good enough? Do you mean the same things come out?
I think they're certainly better than what they're showing.
And that's the thing. I agree. Yeah,
they're not shit footballers. What we got out there, there's just it was like the Burnley game I watched. We done all the right things and playing out from the back, getting through, but then we're pissing about of it around the 18-yard box, and it's just like, where's the creativity? Where's the magic? Where's the style of you watch other teams play and the wide right winger would get it, cutting on his left, and the fullbacks running around him. I mean, Arsenal do it a lot with Saka and Ben White or Timber, whoever's there. Other teams do it as well. It's just like there's a style. They work on that. They train on that. With us, it really looks like someone's just given them a ball and gone, go out there and try and win a football match. But sort of, sit back defensively on way. But when we go forward, there's no style in it. There's no, there's no clinic. They're not clinical enough in the final third, and they make the odd chance here and there. But I want a style going forward. I want a striker to make runs down the channels. I want a striker to hold it up. I want the 10 to run in and behind. There's nothing like that, and that's where he comes under the shit for me, is because they're certainly better than what he's showing, and they can be more expressive and expansive. And I think you'll find that if you brought someone in now, and they would change that. But under him, I don't think that will ever change, because I don't think the players have bought into anything he's done.
And that's it. I think that is really where we are, sadly. I mean, on a positive note, our under-18s and our under-21s are doing all right. I mean, it's kind of come back after Christmas. Our under-21s won 2-1 on Friday night against Stoke in Premier League 2. There we're 6 points off the top of Man United, but it's a congested table, but we're doing all right there. Goals from Russell Denny and Kyra Mayton. Obviously, we got Williams Barnett in the squad. He was unused again against Burnley. Our under-18s, 3-0 win, big win at Hotspur Way against Norwich. In that, we're second in the Premier League under-18s, the South table. We're joint with Chelsea. They're just ahead of us on goal difference. I mean, we see and
I'll tell you what, Lee. Sorry, Lee. Just quickly, just speaking of the youth there. I mean, if we're not going to sign anyone and we're going to go with what we've got, I mean, their only chance for me, or Frank's only chance now, is to go in to that under-21s or under-18s and find the best gem you got out there. And if you can unlock someone like a Barnett, like a Scarlett, anyone like that to come in, that would give the place a lift.
Would you do that? Would you put him on? Would you give him a game against Frankfurt? Would you say, would you go, right, Williams Barnett, everyone knows about you. You score these goals. I see you've got talent. Byfield, I'm going to put you in because I think it's going to lift the crowd, and I think it's going to,
The thing is, Lee, when you're playing a Barnett, you want them sort of players. You want them to play with their own freedom. You want them to think. I don't know if they're the sort of players that he'd put a leash on. I don't know. I mean, certain managers, I'm not saying I want Harry Redknapp. I don't, because he's well over the fucking hill with it all. But players like him would go in there and fish him out and go out. Here's a football. Go out there. You're starting today. Go and enjoy yourself and show us what you're supposed to be. And that's how you unlocked Kane when you did, and all these other good young players like Rooney and Owen. All these players have gone past that. I know it's different back then because the money weren't in the game like that, and you couldn't just go out and buy anyone for fucking 30, 40 million as an 18-year-old. And they get them and they loan them out and they look after them. Where back then, all you had was to put kids in when you had injuries. If we're not going to spend, we're at that point now where I think something like that might just light up our season. We could have said back, putting Barnett in. I'd like to see Scarlett have more minutes. I think this is a young kid who's got a bit of a record like Kane did, before Kane come on the scene. He's been here and there, hasn't really scored goals here, but he's also trained with Harry Kane. He's also been a part of the club for a long time, so there's a demand. So there's a reason why they haven't got rid of him. But if you know Solanke can't do your 90 minutes and you need Solanke for the game against City, give Solanke 60 minutes, get Scarlett on, depending on how the game goes. I just don't think it's the right thing to start them in games at the moment, but I think they should be brought into the games more at certain moments, and he hasn't really done that yet. And I just think you might just see a bit of a shining light if you unleash one of them, and it might change our fortunes a bit in a positive way, because at the moment he just needs to find positivity in any shape or form he can. And I think if we're not buying players, then that is going to be your next best thing.
Yeah. Would you agree, Matt? Would there be a positive light from us lot if you saw them just go and run, just fucking go out there and express yourself?
I wouldn't do it against Frankfurt. I think we kind of need to go full strength against Frankfurt, whatever we've got out there, because we do. If we win, we're guaranteed top 8. Yeah, so I feel like we guaranteed need that. Man City, if the game's done, which I think it will, I think Man City probably be like 2 or 3-1 up, 2-0 or 3-1, let's say by about 60th, 70th minute, and then just let them, like someone like Scarlett or Barnett, do you know what I mean, go and play. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think Wednesday's the game for these players. I think someone like Barnett, you need to start easing him in at home rather than away to start off with,
Is that tough at the moment, though, with the fans, where it can be on a knife edge?
No, do you know what, though, Lee? I honestly think that if Barnett come on, the crowd might be toxic towards some of the fan base and that, but they'll always applaud one of the kids that come through our own, like Barnett coming. I think the fans will get behind him, I don't think he'll be the reason why everyone's slating the team and whatnot. I think the fans will get behind him.
The thing is, I have to question some of the current players' commitment in certain moments of games and the work rate and everything else. And sometimes when you see someone like Scarlett come on, yes, he might not have the finishing of Solanke or of Kane, or whoever it is that he's been around for the last couple of years. But what they will do for you, these young kids, is that they'll fucking fight and they will run everywhere, because it's such a massive spectacle for them. They've been playing these youth teams all their lives to get to this moment. And you see it with so many young players in the Premiership that some young kids just grab it, and they grab it so tight that they don't let go, and then they end up being a part of it. I mean, Newcastle last year had a lot of injuries, and you look at the young players they brought through, like Miley and everyone else, and they had to do it, and they found good players of it, and they've realised that these players can play at this level and they can handle it. It's a character building thing as well. So you just never know what you're going to get. But listen, February's not ideal to do that with the games you've got coming up, but there'll probably be certain moments in them games when you can do it. And let's get these kids on and let us show them what they can do. They're not hot prospects for nothing. And I think that would be such a big lift for everyone if we did unearth something really special.
Well, that's it.
When do you get to, slowly? When do you get to, like, imagine mid-March, we're kind of still in the Champions League. We're like 10th or something like that. So we're safe. Do we start then thinking, like, I say we do the same as last year? We start concentrating on Europe and start resting players in the league again. Like, when does it come to that stage?
I think if you got a couple of points in this game, if you beat Man City, I think, TJ said, look, we get 9 points. We'll stay out. He says 37 points this year is the one that he reckons will go down. I think if you get a good win against City, and we've obviously got in that top 8, I'd definitely explore how we can manoeuvre the first playoff round at first anyway. And if we get a nice draw there, then who knows? But it's just it's so hard because Tottenham undefeated at home, 26 European games, can't win a fucking home game in the league. It's mad, and it's only Spurs that would happen to. It's only Spurs, and I think that's the craziness of it. It's the craziness of it. But I guess then, I'll ask you both of you, Matt, starting with you, the score lines for the next 2 games before we come back after City. So Frankfurt away, City at home.
1-1 on Wednesday. Hopefully that might be enough to scrape through. We might get 8th or something, depending on other results. 3-1 City.
Kev?
Yeah, I think we go and win against Frankfurt. I do. I think it's important. And I always try and think that they're trying to better, the game before, and we've seen that in Europe where they've done that. It's just a shame we can't be consistent in the league. But yeah, I fancy us to do Frankfurt. Obviously, the season they're having, I mean, they're sort of like they're inconsistent. They concede a lot of goals, so with nothing to play for, I'm assuming that he'll be looking at the next German fixture, their manager. So yeah, I'll have a 3-1 Frankfurt. Spurs win. City. I mean, judging our own form, how bad it is, mate. I'm fearing the worst, and obviously how much they've got to win as well. But yeah, I'm going to go for 2-1 City.
Spurs beat Frankfurt 3-1. We ain't even making 3 forward passes, let alone 3 shots.
Well, it's Europe, mate. We'll be on the front foot.
Yeah. Do you think there's not a chance that that these games will spur them on? I go like, it's City, it's United, it's Arsenal, it's Newcastle. I know you said, Matt, Newcastle is the one that you think we could. Like, do you not think that this could be the turning point? Is there any glimmer of hope that February might actually turn out to be a glimmer of hope?
My glimmer of hope was the Man United game. But when we decided they were going to that game, I looked at them fixture and I thought that's the only one where I actually think we could beat them because they had Amorim at the time.
Yeah, right.
And it still wasn't great with Amorim either. But now it's a fucking trip I'm dreading because they have got the new manager bounce and they have got a coach who wants lets them play expansive, takes the leash off players' necks. And so now it's a horrendous game to want to go to. But I mean, Newcastle's away form is pretty shit. So that's the only one I'm banking on winning. If we can get a win, but I just don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it in my accumulator, put it that way. So I don't see anything happening, any wins happening in February, and it all has to start in March for me.
Well, honestly, I do see it. I think they're not going to get a manager now because they've got Man City and Man United coming out. They probably think we're going to lose that anyway. So what we'll do, we let Frank have these, and if we loses them, then we just have to bomb him off then.
Do you think?
I honestly think we're getting into a manager before the Newcastle game. So we've got a double header at home to try and bring. I don't know who, but to try and bring an atmosphere back in that stadium before the Arsenal game.
What about Lee? Lee, about you? How many more games does he get for you before you think they'll pull the trigger, or do you think they will not pull the trigger?
The truth in it is, I don't know if they will. I really they'd have to at some point, but I just don't think they've got a contingency plan. They can't go and get unless they're going to give Johnny Heitinga the role, which I reckon is probably what they would do. Then I reckon he's got 2 more league games. In terms, if he doesn't pick up a point in any of those 2 league games, I don't know how anyone can accept it. Unless again. Like,
do you know
if we go down fighting against City, do you back him? This is the thing.
Do you know who I was going to get, didn't you?
Robbie Keane.
Ramon Vega. He'd fucking
come on, Ramon. Let's get you in. Come on,
Ramon. You got your badges.
But Ange to the end of the season.
Oh, I'd take Ange all day. Of course we will.
Lee would put Ange up in his house.
Got a spare room in it now. But no, lads, listen, it's been tough. It's tough to talk about it, but it's good to talk about it. Thanks for everyone that's been watching, that listens to us, that watches us and shares with us on our socials. Our socials are always growing. Our numbers have been really, really strong. What is a tough time, it's been really, really strong. So we do thank you for that. We do ask, wherever you listen on your podcast, please rate us 5 stars. If you rate us 5 stars, more Spurs fans hear about us. They get to see our content, hear our content, and we'd love to get you on at different times. It's what we've done. We'd love to do more of it. So please like, subscribe, share, follow. Any way that you can follow us at Heart Now Here across X, across TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, we've got our podcast on Spotify and Apple. It would mean the world. Just keep liking, subscribing, following, and giving us the 5-star reviews. We'll be back next week when, let's hope we're in the top 8 of the Champions League, and we've got at least 2 big nights to think about for that. And who knows? Stranger things have happened. We're Tottenham. Strange things happen. We might have just beaten City. This is the Heart Now Here Spurs Fans podcast. We'll be back next week. Keep the faith. However we do it, keep the faith. Come on, you Spurs.